Good evening, and thank you for joining us. My name is Inga Houston, President, CEO of the Dublin Chamber of Commerce, your host this evening, along with the Dublin San Ramon Women's Club. The Dublin Chamber of Commerce is dedicated to the promotion of the Dublin business community as one of California's best and fastest growing cities in which to do business. We advocate for Dublin business community. The Dublin San Ramon Women's Club is one of the oldest, largest international women's volunteer organizations. Members participate in many projects and programs which benefit our Tri-Valley community. Tonight, the Dublin San Ramon Women's Club and the Dublin Chamber of Commerce are pleased to bring you a candidates forum for the office of Mayor for Dublin. In partnership, Gina, Channell, and Jeremy Walsh with the Pleasanton Weekly will moderate this evening's candidate forum. I encourage Dublin residents to subscribe to the Pleasanton Weekly. We would like to see the media source expand to host a Dublin Express sometime in the future. We need 5,000 subscribers to get our very own hometown media source. Go to pleasantonweekly.com for more information. It is the best value around for local information. Now, without further delay, I will turn the program over to Gina, Channell, and Jeremy Walsh with the Pleasanton Weekly, our moderators this evening. Gina?
Sorry about that, technical difficulties. It wouldn't be a Zoom without it, right? Thank you very much for the introduction, Inga, and welcome to the Dublin Mayoral Candidates Forum. We have 3 candidates vying for the seat. This is the first of 2 forums tonight, with the Dublin City Council candidates answering questions beginning at 7:30. I'm Gina Channell, President and Publisher of the Weekly, and my co-moderator tonight is Jeremy Walsh, the editor of the Weekly. I want to say thank you to our partners, the Dublin Chamber of Commerce and the Dublin San Ramon Women's Club. We appreciate the Chamber's help producing and recording this event, and a special shout out to Sue Stevenson from the Dublin San Ramon Services District, who's keeping our time, but she's off camera right now. Thank you to the community members who submitted questions prior to the event, because we won't be able to monitor chat. All of our questions are variations of questions sent because we consolidated ones on similar topics. The candidates were not given the questions prior to the event. We will start with a 2-minute opening statement from each candidate. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to the questions that we ask. And at the end, each candidate will have 3 minutes for closing statements. Because of limited time, we have asked the candidates to save any rebuttals for closing remarks. And candidate Goel will give his opening statement first, and we will alternate who speaks first during the questioning portion of the program. Candidate Goel?
I start?
Yes. 2-minute opening statement.
We restart the clock, sorry. Hi, I'm Arun Goel, and I currently serve as your Vice Mayor for the City of Dublin. Our City of Dublin is an incredible place. For several years running, it has been named the fastest growing city and one of the best places to raise a family. That is why I came to Dublin. I actually grew up over the hill just 20 minutes from here. I moved to Dublin 17 years ago. From my time here, I can tell that Dublin prides itself around being a residential hub for people working in Silicon Valley, seeking the American dream. By day, I am a civil engineer with a bachelor's and master's degree, with hands-on experience working on infrastructure projects across the Bay and nation. I began my public service, however, as a government employee, neighborhood volunteer, became the president of my local HOA, where I worked hard to provide great services, keep fees low, and balanced budgets with accountability and transparency. It is part of my DNA, and I've brought those same skills with me to City Hall. As your council member for the past 4 years, I've built a track record. I have heard you. I pushed for slow, uncontrolled housing growth, smoother transit and transportation, and a strong business sector, promoted economic development, and supported entrepreneurs. As your mayor, I want to build on our progress, be a strong, independent, unbiased leader focused on prioritizing Dublin residents and their needs. I am running for mayor to pause market rate housing, ensure smart, balanced, and sustainable infrastructure, support small and local businesses, improve partnership between City Hall and our school district. I am fully committed to my role as your mayor. I have never shown any intent to seek another office because my loyalty to do better for Dublin is 100%. I'm endorsed by the Sierra Club and supported by residents and public officials from across the region. I would be humbled and honored to earn your vote this November. Thank you, and I look forward to taking your questions.
Sorry, candidate Hernandez.
Sure. Good evening. It's great to be here before you again and ask for your support as your next Dublin mayor. Thank you to the Dublin Chamber of Commerce and the Pleasanton Weekly for hosting this evening tonight. I am proud of my strong record of getting results within our city, and I'm proud of my deep roots within the community. I've been a resident in Dublin since 1999 and have raised my 2 children here. I first got involved within the community by serving as a parent volunteer, and then a class representative for the schools. I then was appointed by Mayor Tim Sobrani to sit on the Marketing and Branding Task Force, in which we created our slogan, the New American Backyard. As a parent advocate, a Human Service Commission chair, a Dublin council member, and appointed vice mayor in 2018 and in 2019, I've been working hard to maintain Dublin's amazing quality of life. Tonight, you will hear some of my priorities, and my first and most priority is to make sure that we get through this COVID-19 together, this pandemic. One, of course, is my immediate, and I want to have the immediate and health response for all of our residents, but also for our small businesses and all of our businesses here in Dublin, while we continue to practice and continue fiscal responsibility. I want to maintain and improve our emergency and medical 911 response, reduce our traffic and preserve our open space, expand our city and school partnerships, and I know what it's like to maintaining our excellent quality schools as it makes us a stronger community. As your mayor, I will provide a visionary, results-oriented leadership to protect your health, safety, and services during these extraordinary times. I'll continue to push for Dublin's interest and fair share of money on a daily basis, advocating for clean air, clean energy, and traffic reduction.
Thank you. And candidate Pangelinan.
Hi, my name is Regina Pangelinan. My husband and I have been residents of Dublin for nearly 20 years now. We have 3 sons. Our eldest is in the US Air Force. He graduated from Dublin High School. Our second son, he's a senior at Dublin High School. And our third son is at Fallon Middle School, 8th grader. I would like to also thank our Dublin Chamber of Commerce and Pleasanton Weekly for hosting this forum. For the majority of my adult life, I have served for our federal government. I've been a public servant through Dublin Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, and the US military. For the most part,
I think she may have muted herself accidentally.
Yeah.
Regina?
Regina? I wonder if I can unmute her.
Gina, Regina,
Regina?
Regina. Regina, you've been muted this whole time.
Technical difficulties?
She went away.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's wait for her for just a second to get back. Like I said earlier, if it wasn't, if we didn't have technical difficulties, this wouldn't be a Zoom call.
The Facebook Live stopped too, so I'm resetting it up.
Okay.
Should look for connect audio.
It looks like she's still trying to connect. I think out of respect for time, let's go.
Sorry, Regina just phone called me. She's going to try to connect by her phone.
Okay.
The Facebook Live dropped again too. I'll bet you this. Remember when it happened with the council meeting a few months ago, where Comcast was doing a big update and everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do our best. So I hope she's going to try to connect with her phone. Do you want to go ahead and move forward, or let her do her opening statement when and if she connects?
I think out of respect for time, we should just go ahead and start the questioning.
Okay.
Questioning, that sounds horrible. We're going to start the questions. And as a reminder, the candidates get 90 seconds to answer the questions. So Jeremy is going to take over and ask the first question.
All right, thank you. We'll traditionally go in alphabetical order. We'll help guide you through in terms of the order. People's grids may be different. We'll just move forward with you two, unless and until Regina joins back in. So first question for Melissa Hernandez. The COVID-19 health crisis and shelter-in-place orders are now in their 7th month in Dublin. How would you like to see the city government aid and protect the many businesses and residents who have been so negatively impacted financially by this pandemic? And how do you feel about the way business reopenings have played out?
Thank you, Jeremy. I truly feel that the City of Dublin has been in trying to do the best job that we possibly can. We've done a couple of, let's say, a couple of items to try to get their businesses up and going. And one of them was the microloan program, which I have to say that I'm very proud of spearheading. I sit on the economic development team, and we kind of collaborated and decided what can we do to help our local businesses. And we gave increments of anywhere from $10,000, $7,000 to $5,000. And I understand that that's not a lot of money, but to be able to help them just through these very difficult times is one of the reassurance that they could count on Dublin for. Also the fact that, you know, we opened up our parking lots, we changed our standards to be able to accommodate our businesses. We have our economic development team always there ready for them for any questions or answers. We try to accommodate them as much as we could. During these difficult times, we are all trying to work together. But at the end of the day, I think it's important that it depends on who you ask. There's people that say we've been opening at a decent rate, and there's people that say that we can open up faster. I think that hair salons and barbers should have been opening up a lot sooner. Our restaurants, now that the malls are opening up, should hopefully be opening up at 25% capacity. But I feel that it's definitely our health and safety is our priority.
All right, thank you. Arun Goel.
Thank you very much for this very relevant question in this time. You know, I think one of the key things, you know, Councilmember Hernandez kind of indicates that we as a council actually approved these loans for our businesses. And what's really important inside of there, we set some standards and we started a pace for recovery. We took off a hard hit on a lot of businesses at a critical time. Well, with the CARES Act, we also augmented some of that funding, and we chose to prioritize giving additional funding to take them to the max request that they had made. What's really more important is, as a business owner, having had the experiences, I understand the challenges of businesses, that they need to be actually at the forefront of a lot of dialogue, because us as policymakers may only make an inclination of what we think can actually support and solve a problem, whereas they're the ones on the ground field actually having the impact. And through my conversations with a lot of businesses and restaurants, I've had great dialogues. I've shared and supported their information on how to open up better. I helped provide them social media broadcasts to really make sure that they had an even platform and could recover quickly. As far as reopening, I think it needed to be more regionalized within Alameda County, because we actually, as a Tri-Valley and as a city, have had very low influence over as far as the results. So with that, I look forward to working with the businesses and improving our opening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Inga, do we have any word from Regina?
No, nothing yet.
Okay, then we'll go on to question 2, and we'll start with candidate Goel. Candidate, the other major storyline this spring and summer has been social justice reform. As mayor, what specific types of actions will you take to affect positive change in community policing and criminal justice in Dublin? Do you feel contracting with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office for police services is more beneficial than the city having its own department like its Tri-Valley neighbors? Why or why not?
So first of all, community policing is an essential start to the recovery and creating social justice reform. We really must start to look at opportunities of where our police are engaged and where their force could be considered or portrayed as excessive. For instance, we want to look at how is our policing being viewed. We have 7 of the 8 tenets of the 8 Can't Wait campaign implemented already. And we've engaged with the public to ensure that we're hearing their feedback and we're having a quality conversation that is real to the city of Dublin. Having trained with various officers in some of my past jobs, I understand how they are trained. but there's room for improvement. And I think a lot of the youth that have engaged through these Black Lives Movement and the social justice reform requests have brought that to the forefront. We need to actually consider redistributing our funds or reallocating it. Our contracting with the county sheriff's department is on spot. It saves us money and we pay for labor only, which means we can reallocate, we can adjust, but we can also ensure safety for within our community. There is more work to be done, and we can take that and do that correctly and have community policing fully in effect and have public opinion coming so that we readjust correctly. For instance, homelessness, and do we have the right services? Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Hernandez.
As we all know that our Dublin police officers are hand-selected within our city of Dublin, we contract our services through the Sheriff's Office. And we definitely always feel that we should always have more room for improvement. That being said, we have recently created a task force, and the task force is to more or less have that open dialogue with our residents, our police officers, but not stopping there. We want to make sure that we can answer all the questions that they have and possibly even have answers that we may not even have, but to do the research. So it's very important for us to understand that. In order for us to get to be able to increase our funding or starting directed to a different entity with social services or so on, we have to look back and think that we only have our staff resources that are paying for the police at this time. So how can we be creative? We can be creative by bringing in a clinician, a medical clinician, to be able to help our police officers during that time. I actually brought up at our last council meeting to make sure that our assistant city manager and our city manager look into that arena. Do we partner up and have partner up with the Tri-Valley, or do we have our own clinician here in the city of Dublin to follow our police officers and get the help that we need with any of the mental behavioral resources that they see at a 20% level?
Thank you.
Thank
Jeremy?
you. Next question, we'll start with Melissa Hernandez. How closely have you watched debates in the state legislature as they work to address the affordable housing crisis with bills that could greatly impact Dublin? What areas of the city will you recommend when Dublin is given its new regional housing needs allocation, or RENA, obligation numbers?
Yes, as we get those RENA obligation numbers allocated to us, we are constantly working, and from the city of Dublin, all of our staff is doing, the hard work to make sure that once we get those numbers created on bringing that back to the council and what we'll be creating in the future. With that being said, I understand that, none of the surrounding cities have actually fulfilled the RENA numbers, especially the low income RENA numbers, but we are trying. That's why it's important for us to be able to look at the projects one at a time. So two of the projects that we actually approved in the last 4 years in housing, one of them was able to give us some property, 2 acres of property in order for us to have an affordable housing project. That was a 4-to-1 vote. That vote was important because not only did it give us the acreage to build an affordable housing, but it also gave us money towards our downtown Dublin that would eventually bring in some more housing as well. Can we always improve? Absolutely. We have had some history projects though. We have had our excellent award-winning Emerald Vista, which has created not only mixed use project in there, but we've gotten an award for that. We've also had our Valor Crossing, the only one in the Tri-Valley where we are able to house our military veterans. So we're very proud of the affordable housing that we have. Can we do better? Absolutely.
Thank you. Arun Goel.
Thank you for this question. It's timely and very important. At a time where we're seeing a lot of Senate bills and Assembly bills come forward, taking away local control, disrupting the way our due process at a local government should happen. One of the key things that is happening inside of the RENA obligation is the calculation is under question, whether they have allocated or over allocated, and how is their algorithm actually distributing the key calculations. The governor himself indicated 3.5 million and then later indicated 1.5 million as far as a housing need. Well, that's a sizable difference. And as the algorithm or calculation from RENA distributed by ABAG and a lot of the elected officials from within the county are looking at that, they're making potentially a wrong assumption on their distribution. One of the failures of the prior RENA was it had no teeth in the game. We performed extremely well as a city to deliver housing. However, we failed on the lower end of the spectrum, delivering to affordable housing requirements. As far as the other state bills and Senate bills, I'm happy to say I'm part of a group of elected officials throughout the state of California called Cali. I urge you to look them up. We helped oppose SB 902 and recently SB 1120. That's the type of activism we need to really make a change and sustain our local economy for our housing requirements here at the City of Dublin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to question 4, and we will start with candidate Goel. Following up on the thoughts about housing, what is your vision for the land where the At Dublin project has been proposed?
Very good. You know, the At Dublin project definitely was a controversial project. It was one that had an allocation of around 900,000 square feet of retail and less than what has been proposed by the applicant to only provide an estimate level of around 261 units. I think if we stay near that threshold of around 300 units and we make sure that the retail perspective is embraced correctly, addressing the environmental impacts of the high school that is coming in, while also providing safety measures. One of the key things that was wrong inside of the At Dublin project, in my opinion, was the environmental assessment relative to traffic, circulation, relative to safety, and relative to impacts on the wildlife in the area. So I think really the project needs to be redesigned. It needs to focus on affordable and senior housing. It needs to address the needs of our community as we look into the future. Something that many of us looking to retire are going to want to have a place where we can age in place, we can have our youth coming in and staying after they develop and educate their careers and come back home and make Dublin their place where the next generation after them is born and we as adults and grandparents can enjoy. I look forward to actually delivering a quality project there, one that meets the City of Dublin's residents' needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Hernandez.
Yes, the At Dublin project, that's been an ongoing project, not only in the last several years, but even the years before that. In my opinion, it was denied because it was lacking a lot of, commercial as well as retail. So we fast forward and we look at what else can they possibly do to make it a little bit better, or actually say a lot better. And that was one of the reasons why I denied it, to making sure that the EIR is completely fully done. And also switching things around. I had asked for them to bring in some more retail and office towards the second parcel, and they did not listen. So let's go forward and say, what can we possibly do to make it better? And that is to make the assessment once again. They were given a second chance at the last meeting, and so we hope they can bring something forward. Possibly having the retail in the center so that you could watch the safety of the children that are coming from the Dublin High School, and then they stay on the sidewalk and not having to cross that Dublin Boulevard, which is always congested at many times during the day. So we have to be mindful on what we can bring forward. We will definitely have some affordable housing as well as the senior housing in there, but have a really good mixed use project, because this is the last land that really counts on the East Side Gateway coming into that Tassajara of Dublin site.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with you, Melissa Hernandez. What sort of transportation and roadway projects would you prioritize within the city and in the Tri-Valley region at large? Have your views changed at all in light of the pandemic and economic downturn and their impact on things like jobs, commuting, public transit, and government funding?
So some of the items we've already done as a council and staff is to make sure that we have improved some of the developments and streets here in the city of Dublin. We upgraded the Doherty Road, completed in 2018, and the Dublin expansion in the summer of 2019. I currently sit on the LAFTA, which we are now currently testing our autonomous vehicle. And the autonomous vehicle is, you know, the last mile in and the last mile out. So for residents that take BART into work and how can they get into that last mile in and the last mile out to the home? Autonomous vehicle making them more essential moving forward and creating more of them. So like I said, right now we're in the testing version of it right now, but definitely traffic is not just a one item, one city issue. It is a regional issue. So bringing forward and making sure that Valley Link is improved, Valley Link gets completely completed is a priority because of the fact that not only will it be bringing people from San Joaquin for jobs, but they will also be relieving some traffic on 580 and making sure that we have the high-paying jobs in the city of Dublin with the balancing of the housing so that most people can stay here in the city of Dublin to be able to work, play, and to be able to utilize and using amenities around the city of Dublin.
Thank you. Arun Goel.
Thank you. You know, I served on the Measure BB Transportation Committee, Better Transportation for Alameda County back in 2014 to ensure that taxpayers help pass a much needed funding source for Alameda County residents that provides us here in the city of Dublin the much needed improvement, for instance, good traffic and pavement conditions, funds the necessary improvements, including ITS infrastructure. As a transportation engineer, I have helped deliver multiple infrastructure elements throughout Alameda County, and I look forward to doing that here in the city of Dublin. What's really critical is how we look forward to the next generation of transportation needs, automating it and using autonomous vehicles or autonomous shuttles, understanding that there is this component of vehicle-to-vehicle communication and vehicle-to-infrastructure communication that provides the necessary relief along the way. Measure BB is also a critical funding source, about $400 million allocated to it because BART to Livermore never occurred since the 1970s. Measure BB basically is the funding source that is making Valley Link a reality. With that, what we do is relieve congestion. We allow for opportunities to bring jobs closer to our home, our city, and help our economy, making us have a true localized agenda, localized economy, one which we can all thrive in. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to go back with you, Candidate Goel, for question number 6, which is, what responsibilities as a mayor do you believe you would have as it relates to the public school system in Dublin? In what ways can and should the city government work with the Dublin Unified School District to achieve common goals that benefit students, families, and the entire community?
Thank you. You know, we have a big responsibility here at City Hall. And as a mayor, it's part of my thing that I really want to do. You know, as a dad, I want my kids to live in a community that is safe, diverse, and encouraging for them to become whoever they want to be. That is why, as City Council, I've worked to build those stronger relationships between City Hall and our school district. I helped expand services, help students and families. For instance, Safe Routes to School, also another Alameda County project that I was the program manager of. We've done this, and our joint school board and city council meetings help build and foster that relationship. But a lot more can be done. It shouldn't be he versus us. It should be a one combined effort focused on our residents, our citizens, and our constituents, focused on the future generation. I'm optimistic a better, more cohesive partnership that can be established can be beneficial to all residents. And I look forward to working and leading this effort once I become your mayor this November. And part of the key fundamentals are really delivering key infrastructure We at City Hall have helped provide land that is going to deliver and has delivered the much needed utilities and space for schools to be delivered for our citizens. Thank you very much, and I look forward to participating more.
Thank you. Candidate Hernandez.
As mayor, I will continue to do the job that I'm already doing right now. I sit on the Dublin Unified School District and City Liaison Committee meeting with Councilmember Jean Josie, and we're always having complete communication at, every 3 months. So bridging between the school and the city, again, we've already been doing, and they have the conversation, we have the conversation of what projects are coming together, what projects they're having together. But to make sure that they get through this COVID-19 is important. Make sure that once those schools start opening up, that we're there for their support. And our police officers are there to guide them as well when they all come back to school and have the congested traffic in front of that Dublin High School. But also, we've done some partnerships, and we will keep leading that. I wasn't against the Cottonwood, them getting the Cottonwood land that they needed for that school, as well as making sure that we gave them the Camp Parks 12-acre land. And they saved about $70 million by doing that. And they were able to put money aside so that they can open up that second high school. But during, me being mayor, we will continue the communication. We will create a plan, an emergency plan that we have last talked about in one of the last liaison meetings to make sure those kids are safe going and leaving school.
Thank you. The next question to Melissa Hernandez. There is a physical divide in Dublin, the Camp Parks Army Reserve Base, as well as a social divide that is likely to become more prominent with a second high school. What concrete steps would you take to help unite Dublin as a single community without the East-West split?
Thank you, Jeremy. I definitely see that there is some type of little division every now and then. And unfortunately, that happens in a lot of cities. So we are constantly trying to mend that. But I think it has to also do with your leadership. If you're a leader that is going to cause division, that's not going to be helpful. So making sure that you are making decisions as a whole and making decisions for the entire community, not just for interest groups. So can we work together? Always. Can we make things better? All the time. And having more unity between both the East and the West Side is a priority. Making sure that both of the schools are communicating together and making sure that we as a city have that partnership to keep it going. But definitely the residents and the leadership at the school district and the leadership at the council have to make sure that we keep working together as we have in the past. Everybody has our little bumps in the road, but definitely feeling that, being able to have the communication and the line of communication is key. So let's just keep fighting to have a unity and have one Dublin versus the East and West Side, because at the end of the day, that's unfortunate. It doesn't help any of the situations at all. So I challenge actually all of our residents to try really hard, and our leadership as well.
Thank you. Arun Goel.
Thank you. The physical divide, it is there, right? It's just nothing we can avoid. Originally, Dublin used to be divided right between 580 and 680. Having grown up just above the hill, I've seen Dublin change. One of the key things that is creating this divide is an animosity of he versus she, or they get versus we don't get. And I think what really happens is we need to inform and educate about the equal distribution that is happening, both at the city council and at the school district. I think the school district is a critical portion of this. We talk about a liaison committee meeting once every 3 months. I think that frequency needs to engage and happen more. I think it needs to happen more in public. We've only had 2 joint council and city board, school board meetings on my tenure on council. That's too little. 4 years, only 2. I think we need to work on better community engagement. We need to have more town halls, more feedback coming from the community, which guide our policy and process, we need to have more transparency. We need to have the two-way dialogue communication, one that addresses the sentiments and the feelings of residents, one that hears and listens to how residents are truly feeling. And I do believe it is leadership that can guide it, but it's leadership with partnership of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 8, we're going to go back to candidate Goel. Do you support the vision to create a true community downtown and the plan to transform the core of Dublin using incentives for the private sector? Why or why not?
Absolutely, I support it. And one of the things that was on our platforms in 2018, running as a mayor back then, was to make sure that we bring a good downtown policy and practice. As council, we made the investment to make sure that we brought the different property owners that had a joint relationship, like a CC&R, very binding, to be able to have a dialogue. So we initiated that conversation. We need to basically incentivize change, okay, in order to deliver the much desired outcome. It's a long-term outcome. And we as city council are basically looking at opportunities to help resolve that division within the property owners, but also make sure that we deliver the transit-oriented development that is necessary, look at affordable needs that are in that community, look at a joint retail, a community park that brings everyone together. Again, I believe decisions like this have to have a long-term vision. The current plan proposes 50 years out. Is that too long? Possibly. But as private property owners that exist on those parcels, the city council can only help nudge. We can encourage a change, but it takes a partnership, and that's what we did. We as a council supported that vision and direction, and we'll make the appropriate investments. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Hernandez.
Thank you, Gina. And yes, I've always been an advocate for downtown Dublin. It's been asked for so many years, where's Dublin? Or where's the downtown Dublin? And so we're finally getting it. I will see, I think our residents will see the vision come a little bit sooner than 50 years. I definitely feel that it'll be coming within the first 5 years. There's a lot of work to be done, and we've been working really hard. And back in 2017, when we made the vote to bring ULI to come in and to study the downtown area, and our downtown's going to be unique. It's not going to be one strip, one street. It'll be more of a, four streets combined together and with the core. And so it'll be Dublin Boulevard, Vision, Village Parkway, Regional, and Amador. So it'll be a great community. We are definitely feeling that we've already created on how we are going to see our vision. We already voted on that at our last few meetings. And so we will definitely have a core. Working together and unraveling the CC&Rs were probably the most difficult things to do. But eventually we are starting to see a change. And like I said, it'll start next year. And our residents will be very, very happy with the first 5 years that they'll see. Definitely making sure that we put money into it, as well as it being funded by developers, making them feel responsible that they have to put money into the city of Dublin downtown.
Thank you. And this is actually our last question of the evening. And we will start off with Melissa Hernandez. There will be a sea change on the Dublin City Council after this election, with obviously a new mayor, as well as 2 new regular council members. As mayor, how would you lead this diverse group of council members to a decision that benefits the entire community?
As mayor, I would like to have a strategic plan meeting more on a regular basis, and not have a complete one all the time, but a check-in time to make sure that our new council members are understanding and knowing what is to catch up. Since we do have a lot of council members that are coming in, and I want to thank them for joining and having the courage to run. It's definitely time to, it would have to be catching them up and bringing them up to speed of what's been going on in Dublin for many, many years. Making sure that we have that open conversation and have a couple more, like I said, strategic meetings, having more meetings in public, not necessarily as an extra council meeting, but having study sessions and working together possibly with our planning commission is important. Leading the new council, there's a lot of history in Dublin. I know that I've talked to almost all the candidates and been giving them the history of how long, how we're getting to the projects that we're going to get and to accomplish. We have to remember, we're almost at build out, and we will be built out. In our general plan, it says between 75 to 80,000 people. Right now we have 65,000 people. So making sure that our council is educated in what's happened and why it happened many years ago and why the previous councils ended up voting the way they did is really probably key and important. But having that collaboration with them.
Thank you. Arun Goel.
The change of seats is actually an opportune time for residents to make a real viable choice as we look towards the future of our city. One of the key things that I did this election cycle, because there are so many viable candidates, is I have chosen not to endorse any city council candidate. What that does is even the playing field, it allows a non-animosity situation, and it creates a collaborative forefront as we start as a new council moving into end of this year. Stakeholder buy-in is one of my fortes as a project delivery manager delivering big capital infrastructure. Understanding the complexities of different opinions and knowing how to bring people together in order to bridge gaps and give basically opportunities to the other side. There are key elements that needs to happen on council. Key things are workshops, team building, okay? And having that two-way communication or conversation, having more town halls as a joint council that hears feedback from its citizens are going to be critical as we look forward. Much too long have we looked at the old way of doing business. We've only had it as a one-way conversation that says we as council have decided. It needs to be a collaborative effort with the new council, with the new frontier, and the community together. Thank you.
Thank you. And as I said, that marks the end of our questioning period. If you happen to tune in late, we unfortunately had a technical difficulty with the third candidate, Regina Pangelinan, and she was unable to rejoin us this evening. But I would encourage you to search more about her online or read our coverage on the Pleasanton Weekly if you'd like to learn more about her. At this point, each candidate will now have 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes, to provide a closing statement. We will go in reverse alphabetical order and start with candidate Melissa Hernandez.
I am the best candidate for Dublin Mayor because I have been doing the work since day one and doing the work that is needed. I have the experience required and I have the trust of local leaders, first responders, and the residents of Dublin. People ask me what separates me from the other candidates. The answer is simple. My agenda is not to say no, no, no. It is to lead. It is to say that we can, to maintain our quality of life in these challenging times. We can address the issues brought to us while keeping Dublin a great place to live and work. While on council, I have worked tirelessly to tackle the tough issues of traffic, economic revitalization, while maintaining our quality of life. We need effective leadership, teamwork, and commitment. I have proven to be that person. I am the only mayoral candidate that has the endorsements of our Congressman Eric Swalwell, our own Assembly Member Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, our City Council, our supervisors, Scott Haggerty and our supervisor, Wilma Chan, Richard Valle, our Tri-Valley mayors, because we have to work together, and our first, like I said, responders. They know I have put the work in to lead the city of Dublin as your mayor, and that is why they support me and they trust me. I have put in the work with our local and regional communities to make sure that the city of Dublin has a seat at the table. I will continue to utilize my relationships with the Tri-Valley mayors state legislators, federal legislators to make sure Dublin keeps local control and our residents have a voice. The city of Dublin deserves a mayor that can sustain our quality of life, keep our residents safe, and knows who and how they can be navigated through these difficult times. I am the candidate, and you can see my track record proves it. I look forward to your support and your vote on November 3rd, and I look forward to continuing my hard work for you, the residents in the city of Dublin. Again, I ask you to join me in voting for me as your mayor in 2020.
Thank you. Arun Goel.
Thank you to tonight's sponsors for hosting us this evening. For the past 4 years, I have been honored to represent Dublin residents and deliver on my promises to pause construction of market rate housing and push for smart and sustainable growth, smoother transit and transportation, climate resiliency and action, and a strong local economy. And for the next 4 years, I would be proud to be someone that you can count on to continue this work, to be your voice, and to represent your values as your next mayor. We face serious challenges ahead. Many people out of work are our friends and our neighbors. No one was equipped or ready for this pandemic. COVID recovery and electing a mayor will bring people together and has a proven track record of delivering real results to ensure that families, local businesses, and the city budget are prepared for the future and should be the decisions at the forefront of our minds this election. I have always been the personality that wants to jump into action and help. As a council member, I'm passionate about policy and bringing smarter solutions to our neighborhoods. As an engineer, I have had hands-on experience building projects and making our infrastructure better and safer. As a father, I know intimately that our parents and our children share the same hopes and dreams, and that our city can play a role in making those dreams become a reality. More than ever, we need great leadership leading our recovery, and I'd be honored to continue that fight for you. Just as I did 4 years ago, I'm keeping my campaign completely people-powered. I am refusing to take money from developers and special interest. That's important in this election because it is clear that they have had too much influence in our city for too long. They are the reasons why we have not been able to calm our chaotic traffic and provide results we can see and feel in addressing our affordability crisis to help seniors age in place and young people eager to get their start here in America's backyard. I am the only candidate in this race taking this pledge with a track record and experience at City Hall because I believe what you believe, that our city's potential is held back because of their strong influence. It is time we elect leadership to the mayor's seat that is independent and will put Dubliners first as we face uncertainty ahead. My track record shows my commitment to you. I see you, I have heard you, and I put my words into action. I am supported by the Sierra Club, residents, neighbors, and leaders across the region. I invite you to visit my website, www.arungoelformayor.com, to learn more about me and my vision for our city. In the meantime, from my family to yours, please stay safe and healthy. I'd be honored to earn your vote for Mayor of Dublin.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the Weekly, I would like to thank the candidates for Mayor of Dublin. And again, we are very sorry that candidate Regina Pangelinan had technical difficulties. We were going to try and do something so she could give her closing statement, but that didn't work out either. So I'm going to turn it over to Inga so she can tell us what's going on next. You're muted.
It wouldn't be a Zoom without
That's
muting.
right. That's right. Okay, it wouldn't be a Zoom. Facebook dropped me 3 times, so all I can do is post it to YouTube later, and people can watch it all straight through. Thank you, Gina and Jeremy, for moderating our candidates forum this evening. And thank you to our candidates for mayor of Dublin. We appreciate your time and insight into the issues facing Dublin today and into the future, and wish you luck on the campaign trail. Also, a special thank you to Dublin Ceremony Services Districts for assistance in tonight's event, particularly Sue Stevenson with DSRSD. As you know, she was our face behind the timer. Now, on behalf of the Dublin Ceremony Women's Club and the Dublin Chamber of Commerce, we hope you have more insight into your choices for mayor for Dublin. The forums presented for Dublin's elected offices this election cycle will be available in a few days on both Pleasanton Weekly and Dublin Chamber of Commerce's YouTube channels. Right now, register for tonight's City Council Forum at 7:30. Registration can be found on the Pleasanton Weekly and the Dublin Chamber's Facebook pages and the events tab. Lastly, give me a second, got to share my screen. The Dublin Chamber of Commerce will be hosting Mayor David Halbert as he delivers his final State of the City address on, oh, am I sharing? Of course not. Deliver his final State of the City address on September 24th at 10 a.m. Registration is required for this virtual event. Go to Dublin Chamber of Commerce or contact me for reservations or sponsorships at dublinchamberofcommerce.org. Think Chamber first when you shop. Support Dublin businesses, shop local. Thank you for joining us this evening, and good night. Does everybody want to wave? We'll go back.
See you in a few minutes.
And thank you.
Half an hour. Thank you.
Thank you.